So, what do you do when you are ready for this next step? You're ready to make these dreams happen, but your life partner is still rooted in the past or not ready yet. For the past few years, I was living in the future. My husband was very content in the status quo of our life, staying in our little house on the hill, putting off traveling and some of these big dreams we had until retirement. It can be a lonely place when you feel like you're on this dream path by yourself. But I have some tips and what ultimately worked for us that allowed us to both work through our feelings in a really genuine way without me forcing him or him forcing me to change our minds. It can be a lonely place, but there's also this hidden superpower in this extra time of preparation. So in art, we have this thing called gessoing. It's where you take a blank canvas and you don't just put paint on the canvas fabric, you have to gesso it. You're putting down a foundation. And that's essentially what I started doing with our lives. I didn't nag, I didn't plead, I didn't spend endless time trying to convince him why I was right or he was wrong. Instead, what I did was I started laying the foundation. I started preparing an on-ramp. I knew that someday he would want this to happen as well. And so I could start doing everything I could to prepare. I started tending my own garden, so to speak. And that way, when he did eventually also agree with me and our plan kind of merged together, we were already part of the way there instead of starting from zero. Today, I'm talking to that woman who was sitting here 2 years ago, 3 years ago, unsure how things would unfold. I'm going to show you how you can start your own on-ramp right now. We're going to talk about 5 practical things you can do today. From the psychological shift of declaring your hopes to practical ways that I built a financial and decluttering foundation before we were even sure we were going to go. So I'm Noelle. I'm a realist dreamer. I'm 5.5 months out from we're selling everything and moving abroad. If you're tired of the maybes and the somedays and you're ready to hear how to make it happen, how you can start implementing your own on-ramp, let's talk about how to prepare for a move abroad. Or these steps will work for any big life change that you have coming up. Let's talk about how you can prepare for your move abroad, even if you're the only one who's ready to pack your suitcases. So step 1, the honest declaration. This is just setting the intent. You're going to be really honest with your spouse, your partner. You're going to state, this is my hope, these are my dreams, this is why it matters to me. This is not the time to play games. The goal is not to win the conversation. It's simply to share from a heartfelt way. Now, let me preface this with saying I am in a loving, equal partnership where we both bring our ideas to the table. We may not always agree 100%, but we listen to one another. We genuinely both want what's best for the whole of us. And that's really key. In past relationships, I know I may not have felt fully comfortable being vulnerable in showing up and presenting everything in this most honest way. And so I'm talking to the person that's like myself, where you know that you want to do this with your partner. Or maybe you're on your way out the door and you can start preparing now for however it plays out. You know that you have yourself ready. So you can decide what camp you're in for that. So what I did is I said, this is my hope. I'm not asking you to commit today, but I'm going to start preparing. I know that someday it will happen. And when it does, we will only be more prepared than if I sit here and do nothing. So this is transparent communication. By stating your intent, you remove the surprise factor. You're not doing something behind their back. You're acting with integrity. You lower their defenses because you're on their team. You are not trying to pull one over on them. You aren't nagging. You are just informing your partner of your own personal growth intent. Number 2, tend your own garden. So what I mean by this is don't worry about what everyone else is doing. You control what you can control. And so this for me was the physical preparation. In the past, I had been doing 10% at a time of decluttering. This, I knew I was going to kick it up a notch. And suddenly, everything we didn't need or that I knew we ultimately would sell started getting priced and ready to be sold. That's how I started preparing. I was sick of cleaning stuff I knew we weren't going to keep. Every cent that I could get in our savings account would go towards this dream. And let's face it, even if this dream didn't happen, we're only better off because we had that money sitting there. So it was a win all the way around. And the reality is, if you can't manage all of your stuff while you're living in it, you certainly can't manage it from abroad. You need to create space to align with this new reality. If I knew we were going to be living out of Airbnbs or maybe even eventually buying a place abroad, I needed to start looking at now, what are the things I would take with us? What are the things that have served us really well and I can say thank you and let them go? What things are things that we need to use up before we go? What are things that I want to gift or give away to people that I know that would appreciate them? All of this became an action plan instead of a random background thought that I might get to someday. Number 3, the financial on-ramp. This is kind of building up that financial fuel. So step 1 of this was stopping any leaks in our budget. We stopped spending money on anything that wasn't necessary. I looked at every possible area that we were spending money that really didn't need to happen, and we cut it off. I know this comes down to sometimes 5, 10, 15 choices every day. Do I want to stop and get a coffee? Can I bring a lunch? Can I bulk or batch cook some meals to save on? I started adding lentils to our meals to stretch things. And none of it was from a place of deprivation because my dream was so strong that I happily did these things. Anytime I was about to spend even like $3, $4, $5, I could ask myself, what does this matter to me more than my dream of traveling? If it did not, then I would save it. And there were times where it did. Going to see my nieces or nephews play and paying the entrance fee to their athletics. Spending some time with family, and sometimes that was a meal out. We would not go out on our own so that we could have that money sitting there and happily do that with our family. So I needed proof of concept. I knew that for my husband to feel safe in the decision to someday travel, he is a responsible person who felt responsible for our family. And I needed to show him that we had the funds. So by building up our savings account, I was building up security for him as well. So it was ultimately in my best interest and his to build up our savings as much as possible. Step 4 is do a knowledge audit. This is really educating yourself, figuring out where are your gaps in your knowledge to make this dream happen. For me, I spent the last few years, I went back to college. I knew that I didn't want to just scrape by if we went abroad. I wanted to be able to make good money while we live abroad. So I've upped my marketing skills, my design skills, all of those things, just my general knowledge base, and kind of threw myself back into the world again. And that was super helpful, but it was years-long commitment and thousands of hours of commitment in order to make this goal happen. We've spent time researching visa laws, entry requirements. How much do you have to make to live in different countries? What are the costs of living in different countries? Comparing where would we want to stay? Can we balance out lesser expensive countries with more expensive countries to balance out our budget? So use this time to answer those hard questions for yourself. Start doing research so you build up your confidence base. And you can answer questions for your spouse too that maybe doesn't have the time or they're not even sure what to be searching. When they do come to you, you can confidently answer their questions or at least share resources that could be helpful for them. You want to become an expert at your own future. No one's going to swoop in and save you and grant you this wish. You have to make it happen. And so you're going to be firing on all cylinders with the knowledge, with the savings, with getting your life in order, all at the same time to pull this off. If it matters to you enough, these things feel like a gift that you have this extra time to make them happen. That's a sign that you're headed in the right direction. Number 5 can sometimes feel like the not fun one, but I'm telling you, it's crucial. It is respecting your partner's autonomy. Stop trying to convince them. Stop thinking that you're right and they're wrong. My best key to success and why we're ultimately traveling now is because I stopped trying to convince my husband. I didn't need to. He knew how I felt. I knew how he felt. And I could understand where he felt. He's not a bad guy. He's a hardworking, wants to make sure we're okay guy. In his mind, he truly believed waiting till retirement was the safer choice. Could we have done that? Absolutely. The other factors that came into play is we have a 15-year-old. How fun could it be to actually take him with us to go explore? He's so excited to get to do this. We homeschool him. He has this opportunity to get to be a part of this. That I know is a gift in itself, to have a teenager who wants to spend time with us and wants to do this. Our oldest child, she's on her own. She's thriving. She doesn't have kids yet. We have this window to where we can do this. We started researching international medical insurance costs. One of our debates was going into business here in the US. And when we started adding up just the medical costs and what it would cost to go for that business, it's so much cheaper to just live abroad and go down one of our other career paths that ultimately that's the decision we made for right now. Maybe we'll change our mind in the future. I know we would live a wonderful life if we would have done that also. But eventually we ended up choosing this other path. So I don't know if you've ever experienced somebody trying to pressure you into a decision, but all it does is make you put walls up and be more defensive. At least for me, that's what it does. And so using like an artsy metaphor, I want you to consider yourself the gesso. You are the primer on the canvas. All you're doing is smoothing out the bumps. You're making it easier for that dream to stick when it's ready. You're simply preparing. You can present information in a helpful way. For me, that was including showing my husband several people that we knew and then finding others like on YouTube or different places that are successfully living abroad. They are traveling, people that are doing it with kids, people like him, blue collar workers that have found a way to save up enough or switch their incomes, or their spouse starts working like what we're going to do. That it is indeed possible for people that are in their 50s to begin traveling full time. And so I could then give him those tools and start opening up so it normalized it to him, that it wasn't just some artsy dream of mine with a couple artist friends that were making this happen. Like, no, a lot of people are making this happen. It's very possible. And in fact, it's actually financially easier and better when we laid out all the numbers for us to go for this. And so as he was able to research and discover on his own, and what I loved is he would research different things and start presenting them to me. And eventually it was this compromise that we were going to do. First, it started off with retirement. And I'm like, okay, that it feels so far away, but if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. Then it moved to, let's go away for January every month. I think we can swing that. We'll go away for a month. But it costs a lot, and it's a lot of time to fly across the world. And then you're adjusting for a few days, and it made it really difficult. I was open to that as well, and that would have been a really wonderful second option. But when we started looking at all of the differences and laying out the money, and for him something clicked that we could indeed make this happen, and it would not have happened had I not started heavily getting money into savings, selling everything that we did not need. I was selling on eBay or Marketplace or Craigslist, Poshmark, all sorts of things to bring in extra money. And then putting all of that money into the savings. And then beyond that, by honoring him, I mean, he's my favorite person, and I want to honor him and support him and letting him make up his own mind. And he feels the same about me. He wanted to be able to do that, and he didn't want to be scared and I don't know if he would use the word scared, but not providing. And who is he without this identity? Those are really realistic fears that each of us have to work through for ourselves. And so by me not becoming another person coming at him, instead I was a safe place where he could discuss all of this. And this was over years. It wasn't over a month or two. Eventually it was him that came to me that's like, no, we're going to do this. We need to go. We're ready. We need to make this happen. And I'm so grateful that I had started creating this on-ramp and just kept myself focused on what I could control, because now I'm 2 months away, a month and a half away from graduating. We have money in savings. We're making this happen in a couple months here, and life has aligned towards this really big dream, and we've done it in a way that's worked for both of us. So that's what I wish for you, is to use these steps and start preparing your own path forward. As cheesy as it sounds, the most amazing thing about tending your own garden is eventually you have these metaphorical, beautiful flowers growing in it, and your partner wants to walk that with you. Don't wait for the yes to start. You can start now within your own garden, your own personal growth. So I'm cheering for you. Thank you so much for watching this. I'm going to share a link in the comments of a couple past videos I've made that can really help with this exact topic, as well as I have an entire Dare to Dream section on my website full of resources that can help you if you're having trouble figuring out, is this possible? Can I really pull this off? Feel free to comment, and we can all join in supporting you as well. All right, thanks for being here.